But second thing, I forgot to mention yesterday. In my I'm not arguing, my lord.
Yes.
In my documents, the last two documents are the letters received by me, by the governor, from leader of opposition and from EKNATH Shinde, that this is how we have the stable majority. Allow us to prove it.
Okay.
So, my lord, kindly have that, my lord. And the third request, my lord,
Yes.
there are some new points, my lord, addressed by Mr. Sibal. Considering that this is a wider issue, my lord, I can't object to that being argued. But allow me to file, my lord, my summary of submissions, my lord, over and above what I have filed. After the arguments are over, not for arguments purpose.
We'll see. Or you
And-
want to make some point in 2 minutes, you can make the point in 2 minutes. They're also.
No, it,
Suppose you file your summary, then they'll say, well, we want to file something. If you make that point.
I would ensure your lordship that
If you make the point in their presence in 5 minutes, they're here, so you can, you're both in
I'll just-
presence of each
I-
other.
I bow down.
It's better, isn't it?
but I can assure your lordship there would not be anything new which they would feel that they need to
But
argue.
what is the problem, my lord, saying it now? My lord is allowing you to say it in 2 minutes now.
So then after you complete.
After, Dr. Singhvi, after you complete, if there's no, 1 second, if there's.
But this would be, the ping pong will continue. That's the only
No,
thing.
no,
Ping pong has to end this side, Balas.
If,
The rejoinder is where the
Dr.
ping pong
Singhvi,
ends. Let him say that.
No, the
minute or
ping
two.
pong ends where
A minute or 2 minutes, if there's something which the.
Whereas your lordship's fond hopes of minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes are difficult hopes to manage. 1 or 2 minutes,
Well,
5
Dr.
minutes.
Singh, we would rather have it said in your presence, so we don't have more pleadings now being filed in
I
the
am
form.
saying-
I bow.
Say it now.
I'll not insist for that. I'm respectfully, my lord,
I'm
not
saying say it
insisting
now.
for that.
I'm not opposing it.
Lord, let Dr. Singhvi complete.
Then you
If
see-
there are some issues which
All right.
I as a governor cannot deal with, my friend will deal with.
That would be a sore rejoinder. Let him say it now. I'm not opposing his saying. Your lordship is permitted to say it.
No, after dealing with your.
He may be wanting to reflect on it for a couple of minutes, that's all.
Some paras I'll point out at the end which were
No,
not.
no, this will be a sore rejoinder. Balas. This is not.
Whenever your lordship says. So
All
I
right,
need it.
we'll see.
Balas, your lordship will allow a note. Otherwise, your lordship will have a full-blown rejoinder in terms of 2
We
minutes.
thought
5
allowing a note would be prejudicial to you, therefore we said we'll hear them in.
He's agreeable, he's fair. My lord, he's
Sur
agreeable.
rejoinder. There'll be a sur rejoinder.
All right, Mr. Call, you circulate a short note,
Yes.
Not more than 2 pages, yes?
not more than 2 pages, give a copy to.
That's fair. That's fair.
May I make one suggestion, subject to what your lordship says. I'll take exactly 2 minutes by the clock and just give the paragraphs. Can I do that?
That can be in the note. That can be in the note.
Only 2 minutes, that is in para 119, my lords, of Bomai. Specifically the issue of legislators withdrawing support is taken care of. Bomai was a case of 2 parties merging and then a few MLAs withdrawing support. In para 119,
Just
it
a
is-
second, we'll just make a note of it.
119,
Bomai,
para 119,
just 1 second.
PDF
Page,
368 of the compilation, volume 2.
Say it out, and then to show.
yes.
It is specifically said in para 119, in this connection, it is necessary to stress that in all cases where the support of the ministry claimed is to have been withdrawn by some legislatures, the proper course for the testing the strength of the ministry is holding the test on the floor of the House. The only argument that I'm seeking to make, my lords, that this is a flawed argument from the other side, as if there is an alternative mandatory mechanism provided. Under the Constitution, there is no alternative mandatory mechanism provided to say that this should have been done and not that. When a governor looks at a position where MLAs come forward and say we are withdrawing support, to say that till yesterday you were together, today you are not together is not after Rameshwar Prasad the mandate of the governor at all, because that amounts to getting into the ethicality and the correctness of who should be with whom. Just testing the proposition, the BJP and the SHIV Sena were pre-poll alliance. Now someone could say post-poll, wasn't it unethical that for 30 years you were together and you ditched and went with someone else? I'm not getting, now that's not the governor's domain.
Okay.
All that the governor sees is,
that point you made now,
the governor sees is, do you have the majority or not, close it on the floor of the
Bomai you have cited, then what else?
Secondly, my lords, Para 191,
Of
Nabam Rebia.
yes,
Read with para 233 to 235 of Nabam Rebia.
33, 3.
233 to 235 of Nabam Rebia specifically deals with Article 179, subclause C and removal. It is absolutely incorrect to say that Nabam does not deal with removal at all. Para 191, 233 to 235 specifically deals with Article 179, subclause C and removal. Thirdly, my lords, para 238 of Nabam, because this whole argument of intention to remove, actual removal, Justice Mishra deals with it and says, you will not wait till the date when the resolution is moved. The moment an expression of interest is given, an expression of interest is bound to be by way of a notice. The moment that notice is given is when the clock starts ticking, because between the intention expressed to remove and the actual resolution being moved, you can actually alter the composition. So that's dealt with, my lords, there. Lastly, my lords, this whole, last just two arguments. Form 1, what I had mentioned, my lords, was when your lordships had asked me in that context that is any post mentioned. There is no post mentioned there. So the purpose of what I wanted to say to your lordships, maybe I should have made myself clearer, is that under Rule 3, just show me Rule 3, that where designations are given, where it says a statement in writing containing the names of members of such legislature party together with other particulars regarding such members as in Form 1 and the names and designations of members of such party who have been authorized for communicating with the speaker is given by the leader of the legislature party. And if your lordships were to have Form 1, it is just have Form 1 for a minute. Page
Is furnished by the leader of the legislative party.
yes. And then it says name of the corresponding political party. So and then lastly, my learned friend made an argument. Please come to that party in the beginning, just quickly, that party. Well, let's please see how is it being read. Firstly, please have G, 2G for a minute. My lords have
Doctor.
2G.
Yes.
Member means a member of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. Then F says leader in relation to a legislature party means a member of the party chosen by it as its leader and includes any other member of the party authorized by the party to act in the absence of the leader as or discharge of the functions of the leader of the party for purposes of these rules. My learned friend wants your lordships to read this, devotes the rules and say it means political party. And now please have Rule 3 for a minute. Subclause 5, just have rule.
Leader refers to the person who is designated by the party.
By the legislature. A member can only be the leader of the legislature party. That's what I read. No one else other than a member of the
No, but see
legislature.
the definition of leader. It's very clear. It is
Yes,
designated
yes,
by
yes.
it. It means by the legislative.
Yes,
the political
but-
party.
Political party.
No, it doesn't use the word political. That is your interpretation.
No, but this
No,
is
no,
very clear. This is very clear. Just read the rule.
Please read
Yes,
that.
the rule
Read the
is
definition.
In
definition.
relation to a legislative party means a member of the party chosen
Yes.
By it.
as its
yes.
leader.
By the party, according to us, here means that it's the MLAs who get together and elect.
No.
My lords,
The party means chosen by
My lords,
it
please
means
see.
by the political
No, my
party.
lords, please see what 2G
And see
says.
the word which says and includes, that makes it even more clear.
My lords, may I?
And includes. Just read and includes.
Yes.
And including.
I'll just read that. For a minute, just have
Perhaps
2G
he
for
doesn't
a
want to
minute.
give a note for it,
Just a
wants to
minute,
argue
just
it.
have 2G for a minute. 2G, member means a member of the Legislative Assembly. Member means a member of the Legislative Assembly.
Right, has to be.
Then leader in relation to legislature party means a member of the party chosen by it as its leader. Manoj, it's the elected legislatures who choose a leader of the legislature party. My learned friend is trying to say that somewhere else.
But leader, definition of leader.
Leader, Manoj, there is no, I don't think there's a leader. Yes, leader in relation to a legislature party means a member of the party chosen by as its leader and includes any other member Any other member is a member of the legislature party, of the party authorized by the party to act in the absence of the leader. Now, just for a minute, for the completeness, just have rule 3, subclause 5, 5 for a minute. Just for a minute, my lords.
Definition of leader is 2F.
I read that. I read that.
3-5, okay.
Yeah.
3-5. Where a member belonging to a political party, any political party, votes or abstains from voting in the assembly, contrary to any direction issued by such political party or by any person or authority authorized by it in this behalf, without obtaining in either case the prior permission of such political party, person or authority, the leader of the legislature party concerned, or where such member is the leader or as the case may be the sole member of such legislature party, such member shall, as soon as may be thereafter, and in any case within 30 days from the date of such voting or abstentions, inform the speaker as informed to whether such voting abstention has or has not been condoned by such political party, person or authority. My lords, leader is always by the elected members of the legislature party. When is a leader is always, for instance, the MPs get together, the MLAs get together to appoint the leader.
We'll consider that.
Anyway,
As was done in 2019, and then what is important for your lordships to know is...
So according
what
to
is
the party means the legislature party.
Yes, and why I'm saying so is, my lords, everyone understood it to mean so because that was the party convention right through. That was a question, my lord, the Chief Justice put in the initial rounds of arguments, that there has been a convention because those letters were shown. They've also understood it to mean the same thing. This is now an argument being made to somehow get out of it. That's all that I wanted to say, my lord.
The leader conventionally in every party is elected by the elected members of the legislature, whether in parliament or not imposed by the party. Party means the political party.
rule concept.
That's the only interpretation which is in tune with the democratic principles. That you have the electorate voters, they elect MLAs, MLAs elect their leader, and the leader is responsible to the House and consequently to the voters. Because Constitution does not talk of political party at all.
I hope they leave something for the written note, Wills.
My lord, lastly, I'll just end by saying my learned friend had also argued that the letter contained no reasons for removal of the speaker when my lord Justice Kohli put to them that where is that letter, read that out. Now, my lords, one thing which has to be kept in mind is we are not dealing with a notice under disciplinary proceeding where someone should be given details of what is the case that he has to meet. The words used are for removal of someone. You categorically in detail para says you lost the majority of the house. That's what Nabam said, that if you have confidence of winning the confidence, go and face it. You win the confidence.
All right. Yes, Dr.
Yes, my lord, that's all that I wanted to say. I'm very grateful, my lord, for this indulgence given by you.
Now, Mills, some of it my learned friend will answer, Mills. At the end, that will take us 10-15 minutes. He'll cover that. But let me, Mills, come to my first. Let me stick to my sequence. Just an aside, Mills, all that was done in the last 10 minutes was reference to everything but the whip. The only issue relevant is whip. Your lordship would be asked to turn parliamentary and party-based democracy on its head if you were told that whip is not issued by the political party. What your lordship has shown just now is totally irrelevant and red herring because it is intimating to the speaker and the house that in this house, my leader is so-and-so. That is a communication between those in the house communicating with the speaker. Speaker has to know whom to communicate with. It is no communication of the party with its members. That's the whip. And that the party issues, the party decides. But that follows apart. We'll come to those rules. So this is completely irrelevant. It cannot be anybody's case that in the context of a whip, the party, the political party is to be ignored and the legislative party is to be looked at. Now, but leave that aside. Let me go in my own sequence first. I'll come to that. Well, as your lordships ended before lunch, Mr. Sibbal finished with a flourish, well, about democracy. Let me just start with that. Well, according to my respectful son, I'll come 7-8.
You follow the same note, Dr. Singh?
Now, on the note, I have an apology, little bit of a mix-up. The note, my note came to me in the morning. I corrected it and sent it back. Somehow it didn't go through. So they have filed by mistake the old note, which I had not corrected. Luckily, sitting here, I found it, and I corrected it. It has been, we've got hard sets, it's been emailed, but your lordship's uploading is in your lordship's domain. So, well, as the court master was told all this, so your lordship may have to either upload it or otherwise the hard sets. Because there's a mix-up, well, the uncorrected note came here. I made many corrections in that. So, this is A7, lordship call it A7. And my learned friends have all got it, pre-lunch.
ओल्ड वन रिमूव कर देना
This will be in substitution, I'm sorry.
वो ओल्ड रिमूव कर देना
This will be in substitution of A6. A6 is the wrong one, the earlier one.
A6 रीजन फाइनल PDF ये रिमूव कर देना नया अपलोड कर देना
Let me just summarize orally and then I'll come to the note because it will be much easier to follow the crux of my submissions. May I start? Your lordships have got one, either the hard copy or the soft one, whichever your lordship is using.
सेम है कुछ फर्क सेम व्हाट इज द चेंज
No, there are a lot of changes. Your lordship may just take this one.
स्टार्टिंग इज द सेम
No,
पैराग्राफ
starting, but there are changes. There are a lot of changes. Lordship may junk the other one, otherwise lordship will be confused with the other one.
जस्ट कंपेयरिंग बट इट
No, Malus, there are changes. I lordship may just tell them, your lordship's assistants to delete that earlier A6. That's all. Otherwise, there may be some confusion. There are whole sections which are added, etc. That's all right. Your lordship will use this first. Now, Malus, the first submission, and I'm not going to follow this sequence. Allow me to oralize, Malus. My first of my 8 facets is Malus, something which is repeatedly fallen from your lordships, and Malus, yesterday it fell directly from my Lord Justice Narasimha. That Malus, your lordship is concerned about democracy, majority becoming less, or your lordship use the word overwhelming numbers going this way or that way. This connects with that. Principal has answered in one way. I'm now giving your lordship a different facet. Because my submission is that your lordship has to go back to the origins of the 10th schedule. And first point under this head, Malus, is that the 10th schedule has 2 components, not only one. One is a prohibitory negative code. It's a negative code. So a negative code is what you should not do. Violating of whip, voluntary resignation, cohabiting with other people, etc. But there is also an affirmative, positive part of that code. And what the 10th schedule does is to strike a balance between the negative and the positive by a constitutional amendment. It is my respectful submission that it is vital for your lordships to give effect to both negative and positive in letter and spirit. Because your lordship is actually implementing the constitution. And some of the arguments of the other side have bordered on suggesting that a mere, I'm using the word mere advisedly in comparison to a constitutional text, a mere symbols order will be competing with a constitutional text. That would be completely anathema to all known principles. What are these 2 codes, Balus? The negative code is that you, in a nutshell, I'm just saying, in a nutshell, I'm oversimplifying. You will not voluntarily give up membership to 1A and you will not violate whips to 1B. Just in a broad summary. What is the affirmative permissible activity? You are entitled to dissent only within that permissible zone. Otherwise, why enact the 10th schedule, Malus?